What will it take to boost the country's internet penetration? A European satellite telecommunications network provider hopes to provide the answer through advanced technology. Let's get the details now from SES, Business Development Networks Director, Rob Marabut. Rob, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone is very curious here about the satellite connectivity services. What makes SES services different from others?
Well, first of all, Rico, thank you very much for inviting us to come over. And a warm good evening to you and your viewers. So, SES is basically differentiates itself because we're the only provider in the world today that can do both geosynchronous satellites as well as MEO or medium Earth orbit satellites. And that makes us unique because with these combination of satellites, we have 70 satellites that we've launched, effectively making us one of the largest, if not the largest, satellite operator in the world. Now, you brought about the question on how can satellite technology essentially bridge the digital divide? How can we improve internet connectivity in the country?
Correct.
Now, this is not a new question for us. This is something that we've been doing in the region for many, many years. The closest one that I can cite is in Indonesia, for example, where we're providing geo capacity. This is the typical satellites that you have at 36,000 kilometers. So these are the same satellites you're using for broadcasting CNN, for example, across the Philippines and across the world.
So share with us, Rob. You mentioned about your services, no? Particularly medium Earth orbit satellite system, or MEO. How different is that to the low Earth orbit, or LEO?
Sure. If you take a look at the Earth, and this is what you're picturing here, right? With LEO or low Earth orbit, they're essentially about 500 to 1,000 kilometers from the Earth. So their view of the Earth is very small because they're closer. MEO, on the other hand, has a much wider view of the Earth because they're at 8,000 kilometers. The ones that have the best view of the Earth is GEO because they're 36,000 kilometers from the Earth, and they can essentially have a very large view of the planet. That means that with 3 GEO satellites, you can cover the entire world. On MEO, you will need about 6, and on LEO, you'll need thousands because they're much closer. So
and
from that perspective alone, it's a bit more complicated to go on LEO than it is on MEO or GEO for that matter.
All right, so right now, MEO technology is 8,000 kilometers above the Earth. So that's, of course, very different, right? From Elon Musk and SpaceX's Starlink technology, which uses low Earth orbit or LEO. So in terms of penetration, what is the penetration of a MEO compared to a LEO?
Sure. So imagine a community. Let's say you want to bring internet capacity to a remote location across the Philippines. MEO is the only one that can deliver 1 gigabit to any location across the country today. You don't have to wait a few months. It's available today. And it's something we're bringing on our current MEO satellites. And we have a new batch of MEO satellites coming up. We will be launching our O3B mPOWER. O3B mPOWER will be launching 11 satellites all in all. The first 2 will be launched in December 15. And on these satellites, we will be able to provide 2 things. 1, high throughput. As I said, 1 gigabit or more to any location. Number 2, low latency.
So when you say 1 gigabit, that's like fiber-like speeds?
Yes, it is. It's fiber in the sky if you want to take a look at it that way.
And of course,
this differentiates us from everybody else. You talk to your LEO providers, you talk to your GEO providers. Nobody today can deliver 1 gigabit to any location. It's only SES through our O3B MEO constellation and our O3B mPOWER constellation that will be coming up. And I keep mentioning O3B. The reason we're called O3B, at least for this particular constellation, is because we wanted to address the other 3 billion. So that's what O3B actually stands for. When it was first put together and launched, the target was really to bridge the digital divide, connect the unconnected.
Okay, so you're trying to bridge, Rob, you're trying to bridge the digital divide. Your services will be available this coming December. In which areas of the Philippines?
The entire country.
The entire country.
To be clear, we will be launching the first 2 satellites in December. The next 4 in Q1. We will be operational Q2, Q3 in 2023. Ready for service.
And all of these services will have fiber-like speeds of 1 gigabyte, correct?
To any location, yes, we can do that.
And what about prices? How will you compare how will your prices compare to cheaper options out there in the Philippine market?
Sure. That's an excellent question. And look, at the end of the day, it's economies of scale. The more bandwidth a satellite can provide, the more the prices can go down. And if you're able to deliver 1 gigabit to any location, then the price points will be very, very good.
And of course, there will be competition as well, right? From the likes of Elon Musk's Starlink. Give us an example of the prices that will be made available for our Filipino consumers who would want to use your services going forward.
Sure. Another main difference between LEO constellations is that, number one, LEO typically addresses the consumer directly. So they have a service that you can take, put in your house. That's not our model. Our model is that we enable the telcos. We're a telco enabler, and we will enable Smart, PLDT, Globe, DITO to extend the range of their RAN or radio access networks so that you can set up a base station in the remote areas. That is the function that O3B MEO and O3B Empower provide, as well as our GEO satellites. We are already doing this today, in fact.
Looking forward to SES satellite systems to improve our internet connection this December and the first quarter of 2023. Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. SES Business Development Networks Director, Rob Marabut.